Happy Friday, Fort Mill. I'm David.
And I'm Caroline. We're standing outside our auditorium where in less than a week our talented students will be putting on Shrek the Musical.
So that means we have to put our serious smiles back on for this week's buzz.
But that's okay. A regular buzz doesn't mean a boring buzz.
Coming up this week, Julian takes us back to the 60s and informs us about integrated schools. Jane goes behind the green to the upcoming production of Shrek, and Sam discusses our monthly data problems.
All that and more coming up right after this.
Separate them together. Each perspective in view. I am me, I am you. Justice, fear, and fire. Separate them together. Each perspective in view. I am me, I am you.
As always, Chase and Jared blow us away with another intro. Those guys really know what they're doing. I'd consider them a secret weapon of ours.
Every team has one of those players that's silent but deadly, even our buzz team.
And the varsity golf team is no such exception. This year, 4 middle school players will be joining the Jackets on the green.
I used to play high school sports when I was in middle school, and I learned quickly that it's really hard to compete against those guys that are literally twice your size. But we still won, twice in a row.
Okay, David, let's not brag about stuff that happened, 5 years ago? Matthew is here to update us on all things sports.
Hey Fort Mill, I'm Matthew, and it's time for the Buzz Sports. Our girls soccer team beat Dorman at home Tuesday with a big win of 4-0. And in their game against Providence Day yesterday ended in a draw with a score of 0-0. And our Yellow Jacket tennis team came with a devastating loss to Cuthbertson 6-1. And our boys lacrosse team plays Greensboro Day at 4 p.m. on Saturday. I'm here at the Fort Mill Golf Club, where our Fort Mill golf team is finally getting into the swing of things. They're getting some help from some younger guys, unlike other years.
Oh, I'm in 7th grade, playing on the Fort Mill High School golf team.
Playing on a high school team as an 8th grader is a good experience because you get to know the older guys.
It was tough at first, but now that I've kind of gotten more used to it and know that I don't have to hit it quite as far as most of them do.
It's kind of like you feel like you have to do a lot better than you really need to be. It's kind of intimidating, but you just got to play your own game.
I think it's a good experience for not only my golf game, but for my social aspect of my life.
Just the experience, like being able to be on the high school golf team and hang out with all my other friends.
You learn a lot from playing with them. You learn how to control yourself. You learn that you don't have to hit every shot perfect.
The hardest part is probably just not even being in high school and not knowing what it's like for those guys.
I don't hit it as far as anyone else.
Really the only thing that restricts me is being able to, is transportation to and from the golf course.
Just being with the guys every day is probably the best, just coming after school.
That's all this week, Fort Mill. I'm Matthew, and this was the Buzz Sports.
You know, caddy actually comes from the French word cadet, which means student, but I don't really see the connection. What does a student have anything to do with golf in French?
Well, you know, a caddy is that person that carries around the golfers' clubs, while they also throw in a few bits of advice for where they should aim their shot. So I guess they're actually more like a teacher than a student.
Oh, I guess I need to up my golf trivia game, but I bet I could school you if it came down to some musical knowledge. I'm pretty in tune with that.
Well, I don't want to take that bet. You guys know she's actually been in every play the school's put on since she's been in high school.
Don't remind me. I hate that I'm sitting this one out, but I'm going to let the real stars tell you all about it. Here's Jane with more about this overwhelming musical coming to our school very soon.
Once upon a time, in the kingdom far, far away, Shrek and Donkey were busy rehearsing for their upcoming performance. You may know Shrek from the movies, but get ready for a musical spin on the classic tale of Shrek rescuing Princess Fiona right here on our very own stage.
Even though the cast is swamped with rehearsals preparing to wow the crowd, Avery and Cameron are overjoyed to step into the spotlight as Shrek and Princess Fiona.
Having my first lead is really terrifying. I've never had to sing or learn lines and then do them in front of 100 people before, but it's worked out pretty well. My favorite thing about playing her is that she's not really a normal princess. She's kind of gross and disgusting, which is always fun to do.
My favorite part about being Shrek is that he's gross and he's not like the normal male lead, which is beautiful and pretty. And I like being nasty.
Surprisingly enough, it takes a lot of makeup and costuming to look disgusting.
When I do my makeup for the show, I have to be ready 2 hours early because it's a lot of blending with tissue and like liquid latex. It's like a lot of prosthetic work and I have to glue a bunch of stuff to my face. For this show, the costumes are really different because everybody's their own unique character, so all the costumes are like really animated and it's just a really fun show.
Casting for the shows is a difficult process. However, Miss Williams and Miss Durkee always choose characters with confidence. Deja is taking a new twist on the typically male role of Donkey and found herself to play the part perfectly.
Because I'm very goofy. He's like out there, you know, sassy. That's definitely me. I think I have the part because I am sassy. So I think it really, really fits me.
Tickets for students are $8. Adults are $12. But students can get in for $5 on Thursday night. Tickets are also available for purchase under the Performing Arts link on the school website.
Everybody should come see Shrek because it's a classic and everybody grew up on Shrek and it's just going to be a good show.
I just think it's going to be a really great show, so you should come see it.
Make sure you grab a seat this Wednesday through Saturday at 7 or Sunday at 3 to see a show guaranteed to be 2 green thumbs up. I'm Jane, reporting for The Buzz.
I used to love the 3 Shrek movies when I was younger, back in the old day when times were easy.
I can't believe you just admitted to loving the 3rd Shrek movie, but I know what you mean. Nowadays we're worrying about college and money and jobs and...
Well, I was talking more about my parents being on me all the time about data, considering I could go over every month.
There's a new epidemic striking the teens and tweens of this generation. The limitations that we're facing on data is making us lose money and maybe even our minds.
In the arms of the angel.
Every 7 minutes in America, a child is receiving a text just like this one.
From this dark, cold hotel room.
For just an extra $15 a month, you can save these teens from another week of turmoil.
You are pulled from the wreckage of your silent reverie.
Act now and call the number on our screen to prevent these children from having an emotional breakdown.
May you find some comfort.
That may have been a little dramatic, but going over on data is a real problem, especially among high schoolers today. We wanted to know how you guys prevent from getting that monthly message.
I connect to my Wi-Fi anywhere I go.
I prevent using data by not streaming videos without Wi-Fi.
I prevent using data by having an unlimited data plan.
I don't send pictures and messages without Wi-Fi.
And a lot of people think that email and text messaging, especially picture messaging, uses a lot of data. It really doesn't. It uses very, very minimal amounts of data.
There are a few other tips Jeff recommends, like turning off your push notifications and changing which apps use cellular data. He also says it's beneficial to manually close apps when you are done using them.
Some of the best ways to prevent using so much data, one, the most important thing is use Wi-Fi, open source Wi-Fis whenever you possibly can. There's a lot of social media apps that a lot of people don't realize that you can cut off the streaming video content on those apps. That's probably one of the biggest causes of over data that we see here in the store.
I'm Sam, reporting for The Buzz. Back to you, Caroline and David.
I hate it when I get a text from that 900 whatever number telling me that I've almost run out of data.
Well, my data restarts tomorrow, so I'm pretty excited I get to go on Instagram at all times now. I think for most people, the coming of a new month brings joy because the thought of a full 5 gigabytes.
And the beginning of March means that we TV kids need to finish up preparing for our national competition in Atlanta. I really hope I don't run out of data the day before like last year.
Well, before we move on to March completely, there's one more thing I have to say about February. Though it's over, we still have one last hurrah for history. Long ago, Fort Mill was divided into a school for blacks and one for whites. And though it seems like forever ago, some of the staff here at our school experienced segregation firsthand.
It's hard to believe that just 50 years ago, students at Fort Mill High School were separated by nothing more than the color of their skin. With a separate school for blacks and whites, Fort Mill High School was anything but united.
George Fish High School was all-black school.
With a memorial in downtown Fort Mill, the segregated school George Fish impacted many like Walter Strait, who attended this isolated establishment as a child.
When I first went, I was 7 years old. We had a nice school. First thing, that was nice school, nice principal, nice teachers. We got along good, because, we was all the same.
After integration, Fort Mill grew closer as a community. Chuck Epps was a member of Fort Mill's first integrated basketball team and quickly learned that everyone deserved a fair shot.
I think there were a couple of African American students that played on the one on the JV team, one on the varsity. Then the next year it was a couple more. Everybody made the extra effort to make it work. As each generation lives together, goes to school together, works together, you become more accepting of other people's points of view.
Although from different backgrounds, these hometown natives have experienced the continuing Fort Mill growth.
We were the first generation, the young people, who got to experience or working together as black and white.
You was going through some challenges that you never went through, dealing with other people, and there was a lot of conflicts, but over the years, we got better with it. We got where that we was able to talk with one another without saying certain things. We was able to play sports. We was able to hang out with one another.
You can only grow and as a society and as Fort Mill. Certainly we need more diversity in our area, and it can only make us stronger.
Fort Mill High is in a great place right now. I really believe it.
This has been Julian reporting for The Buzz.
I got to see the yearbooks from 1969 and 1970, and everything was so different. Back in the late 60s, Fort Mill was an actual small town, and I'm sure the school curriculum changed a lot from what it is today.
Yeah, including grades for penmanship. I'm lucky that teachers don't take off my chicken scratch, and a lot of the papers that I write can actually be shared in Google Docs.
Which actually got us wondering about cursive writing. I remember learning it in elementary school, but now I never use it, and I can barely even read it.
Zoe's here with more on an interesting form of art that some say is actually dying.
I think cursive is the better way to write because it's more fluent and your pencil glides across the paper for premium handwriting.
If I'm writing something more formal, then I will often write in cursive.
I like print writing more just because it's easier than cursive writing.
I think cursive is awesome. I was taught in the 3rd grade.
With a world that is always changing, it seems like we have no time for penmanship. From blackboards to rolling projectors to smart boards, handwriting your notes is becoming a thing of the past. With classroom tools like laptops or Chromebooks, you can even access these documents right on your smartphone via Google Docs. With all of this technology, where can cursive come in?
Cursive is becoming more of an ancient art. In 2010, all but 7 states implemented Common Core that wiped the curly handwriting from school standards.
Cursive is important because when you get older, you have to be able to sign your name. And if you don't know cursive, then you won't be able to sign your name. But I do think that a lot of people are thinking that keyboarding is much more important because that's where we're headed.
The historic penmanship seems to be a casualty of the digital era. Keyboarding is overriding print. However, any form of writing can boost brain activity in young kids.
We do both keyboarding and cursive writing. So we take the kids down to the lab and they do keyboarding there, and they do a keyboarding practice in their technology class. But some kids, for them, writing cursive is quicker because they can connect all their letters. They don't have to pick up their pencil. So,
with a generation that won't stop innovating, cursive is a calligraphy that can keep up with the fast-paced speed of modern technology. Reporting for The Buzz, I'm Zoe.
With all the other things we have to learn in school now, I'm still not sold that cursive is super important.
But memories from elementary school surely are. And today the young students from Fort Mill Elementary School made some lasting ones over at Harris Street Park. The kids have been raising money and gathering donations for the new Little Free Library, which was dedicated just this morning. Anyone can come and borrow a book to take home or just use the beautiful park setting to launch into an interesting story.
There we go. All right.
That is actually pretty cool and a neat thing to do for the community.
I guess that's the thing about living in a small town. We tend to gather together to celebrate a good cause.
An emphasis on good. We normally don't like to report on things that already happened, but this is just too delicious to resist.
This past Saturday, the Fort Mill School District decided to spice things up a bit and have a chili cook-off. Here's Spike with more.
And come and get it they did. The Foundation for Fort Mill Schools is putting the fun in fundraiser, bringing a delicious opportunity to the whole district.
I'm the executive director for the Foundation for Fort Mill Schools, and we raise money for peripheral programs in the district. So we look to support teachers through grants, seniors through scholarships for college, and through fundraisers like this, we're able to fund that.
From outrageous costumes to prehistoric props, teams tempted the judges' taste buds for a chance at chili chef bragging rights and prize money that would go to a school of their choice. But what makes an award-winning chili?
We apply the same principles when we judge anything. So the principles that we look at it from our appearance first, how pretty is it, so to speak. Then we have aroma. Does it have something that makes your mouth water? Now it's into the putting it in your body and see how your tongue reacts. Then we look at tenderness and texture and see if they've cooked it right, basically. Then we conclude with an overall impression.
We spend a lot of time rallying for our individual schools, and this is a great event to bring the whole district together.
From school choirs to homemade items sold at a silent auction, with all the profits going to a good cause, the Foundation for Fort Mill Schools prides itself in bringing schools within the community together.
So thank you guys so much. We appreciate it.
I'm Spike, reporting from the Buzz.
Well, that's it for this week's show. I'm glad we got to squeeze in one more buzz before we leave it for all of our competitions the next 2 weekends.
So that means there's no show next week, but Allie and Josh will be here the week after to tell you all about our trip to Atlanta.
Until then, I'm Caroline.
And I'm David.
Have a great weekend, Fort Mill.
We got it.
I thought it was... Good afternoon, everyone.
I'm Dave. See, it's just...
Hello. For most people, the coming of a new month... I don't know what happened.
Steph Curry or AJ?
Coming of a new month means what? Another intro. Those guys really know what they're doing. I'd consider them a secret weapon. Worrying about college and jobs and everything. Can you please...
Oh, I didn't realize I cut you off at and.
I look crazy there. I sound crazy.
In Atlanta. I don't want to run out.
I do something really funny and dumb, so I'll sound like I'm kind of cool, you know? I want to fit in.
I hate when I get a text from that.
See you later.